Hi folks, Bob Ucala with Last Effort Garage. We're here to show you today some of the problems with the Shay pickup and roadster. And this also applies to the Camelot and Modern A vehicles. The vehicle behind me suffers from the dreaded lean to the driver's side. We're going to show you how to fix this, what the components are, what the tools are needed, and how you can do it yourself. Safety first. Wheel chocks, a must-have. It's also, don't take any safety shortcuts. Good pair of safety glasses and your gloves. There's nothing like a cut or a piece of rust in your eye to ruin your day. First thing we're going to do is unbolt the shocks from the bottom of the car. Don't take a shortcut here. The shock plate will bind up on you and can cause you a problem. At this point we're going to remove the lower spring plate. The car is supported on a jack stand. And we'll take that out with the spring. So we're going to remove the shackle first. Get it out as much as we can. We'll finish off the job with the grinder. And here's our interference problem. I was able to turn that one out. Got lucky. Here we have the old spring on top and the new spring down below. You can see that they're very similar in length and design. However, I will point out that the length of some of the leaves are slightly different. These have brand new cushion pads between the leaves, and our bolt location is slightly different if you actually measure this. This attributed to a much better ride. These were completely engineered for the Shay, not for the Ford vehicle that they were modified from originally. Alright, I want to point out some of the differences between the spring pads. You typically only need 4 for your vehicle. I've got an option here for the lower spring pad. These ones with the round hole are universal and can give you a better ride. However, these are more for if you have changed your spring plate to the 66 Mustang style. The oval is what will work on the factory spring plates. In this section, we are now offering new replacement shackles. We're going to show you on the vehicle why you would have to cut off your old shackle in order to change the bushings. So we got lucky on the passenger side, but this driver's side, not so lucky. I want to show how this would hit the fender. There's no amount of bending and pushing that I can do to make this come out. If it doesn't want to come out, it does not want to come out. So what we're going to do is cut this off right on the shank. When we cut it off, we can install one of the new 2-piece shackles. This is the upper and lower shock mount plates. The shock mount plate has this tooth only on one side. I want to point out that that fits into that hole. Don't make the mistake of putting it around 180, you will never get this to close. This time we're going to replace the 1980 rubber. This rubber is dry rotted, cracked. Notice this steel plate in the lower half. We'll be reusing it. This one also is dry rotted, cracked, and ready for replacement. Now, if you have replaced your lower plate with the more modern plate, it will have a round hole on it. You can use the round hole within the oval. It won't cause you any problems. But when possible, I'll put the oval plate in. And here's the same oval going on the top. That's now ready to go back in the car. I'll raise the new spring up into the front mount pocket. So our next step, we're going to put the top rubber pad on the spring and put the top spring mount on here. And I want you to double check for that pin that goes into the hole. Make sure you're on the proper side. So one of our first things is going to be to take apart the new shackle and install at least 2 bushings on it. That bushing will allow this shackle to hang in the right spot. Now we can pick up the spring and get it at least started hanging off the bushing. Third and fourth bushings. Our new 2-piece shackle is almost complete. Make sure that there's threads extended out of these nuts, otherwise you won't have a proper bite on them. You don't want this to come loose on you while you're going down the road. One of our next things is to replace the U-bolts. And notice I said replace them. Do not reuse your old U-bolts. They do stretch and they're not intended to be used more than once. For this, we're going to slip the new ones over. And line these up with the holes in the plate. Okay, spring plate. So lined up with the holes, and I'll get 2 bolts started before we do any tightening. The torque for these new U-bolts are 45 foot-pounds, and I have very specific instructions on which order to go in as far as 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're calling the nuts. And it also states to tighten in a pattern where you're using a increasing torque. So we will start out at 30 and then torque the vehicle to 45. After both springs are installed and the car has been taken for a ride, we're going to recheck the torque on these because, as noted, they do stretch.
Things went just dandy till he got down the road. Then something happened to the old machinery. That engine got his goat, off went his hat and coat. Everything needed repairs. He'd have to get out and get under to fix his little machine. He was just dying to cuddle his queen, but every minute when he'd begin it, he'd have to get out and